On June 11, 2026, something happens that has never happened before in nearly a century of soccer. A World Cup kicks off not in one country, but three. Not with 32 teams, but 48. This is the 23rd FIFA World Cup, and by every measure, it is unlike any tournament that came before it. For 92 years, the World Cup belonged to a single host nation. One country, one set of stadiums, one flag flying over the final. That tradition ends in 2026, when the United States, Mexico, and Canada jointly stage the tournament across an entire continent, forcing FIFA to rewrite the rulebook on what a World Cup even is. 16 host cities will carry the tournament, 11 in the United States, 3 in Mexico, and 2 in Canada. Picture the logistics, teams, fans, and media crossing international borders mid-tournament, adjusting to different climates, altitudes, and time zones, all within a single World Cup cycle that used to unfold in one nation alone. To understand why this matters, rewind to the tournament's roots. The first World Cup was held in Uruguay in 1930, a single country welcoming the world. For decades, that model never changed. Co-hosting only entered the picture occasionally, and even then it was 2 nations at most. 3 was considered unthinkable. Then came the second seismic shift, team count. Every World Cup since 1998 had featured 32 national teams battling for the trophy. In 2026, that number jumps to 48, the largest expansion in the tournament's history. More teams means more matches, more storylines, and more countries getting a shot at soccer's biggest stage. That expansion changes everything about the tournament's shape. More qualifying spots mean nations that rarely dreamed of reaching a World Cup now have a realistic path. Smaller footballing countries get their moment under the brightest lights in sports, a chance that 32-team brackets simply never allowed for. But why 3 hosts at all? The answer lies in sheer scale. A 48-team tournament demands far more stadiums, hotel rooms, training grounds, and transportation infrastructure than any single nation could realistically guarantee FIFA on its own. Splitting hosting duties across the United States, Mexico, and Canada solved a problem no single bid could. Mexico enters this tournament with a distinction no other nation holds. Having already hosted in 1970 and 1986, Mexico becomes the first country ever to host the World Cup 3 times. Its stadiums have witnessed some of soccer's most legendary moments, and in 2026, they add another chapter to that history. The United States, meanwhile, returns to hosting duties for the first time since 1994, when American stadiums broke attendance records that still stand today. This time, the U.S. isn't hosting alone, but with 11 cities in play, it carries the heaviest share of matches and infrastructure of the 3 co-hosts. For Canada, this is uncharted territory entirely. The 2026 tournament marks the first time Canada has ever hosted men's World Cup matches, with 2 cities stepping onto a global stage most Canadian soccer fans could only imagine before now. It's a historic first for a nation more commonly associated with ice than grass. Coordinating 3 governments, 3 sets of immigration policies, 3 currencies, and 3 time zones is a logistical puzzle FIFA has never had to solve before. Every match, every travel itinerary, every broadcast schedule has to account for the reality that this tournament literally spans an entire continent rather than a single country. With 48 teams instead of 32, the tournament format itself had to change. More groups, more matches, more knockout rounds. The entire structure of the World Cup expanded to accommodate 16 additional national squads, each with their own federations, fans, and traveling supporters descending on North America. 16 host cities also means 16 different fan experiences. From major American metropolitan hubs to Mexican cities steeped in soccer tradition to Canadian venues hosting their first ever World Cup matches. No 2 host cities offer the same atmosphere, weather, or cultural backdrop for the world's biggest sporting event. The tournament runs for over 5 weeks, beginning June 11th and concluding July 19th, 2026. That stretch of time turns 3 nations into a single, sprawling soccer festival, with matches unfolding almost daily across borders that fans, players, and broadcasters must all navigate together for well over a month. Every element of this World Cup, the 3-nation hosting, the 48-team format, the 16 cities, represents FIFA testing the outer limits of how large a single tournament can grow. It's an experiment in scale that will shape how future World Cups are planned for decades to come. Whether this bigger, more sprawling format strengthens the World Cup's magic or dilutes it is a question only time can answer. What's certain is that 2026 marks a turning point. The moment the tournament stopped being one country's showcase and became something genuinely shared across a continent. For the players chasing history, the fans crossing borders to follow their teams, and the 16 cities preparing to welcome the world, 2026 promises to be unlike anything soccer has ever staged before. 3 flags, 1 trophy, and a tournament bigger than the sport has ever attempted. If this story of soccer's biggest experiment surprised you, imagine watching it unfold live across 3 countries this summer. Subscribe for more deep dives into the stories behind the world's biggest sporting events, and let us know in the comments which host city you'd want to experience in person.